Everyone, this is Cheyenne Blue with Country Air Properties. If you're new here, I'm a real estate agent over here in Lake County, California, and today we're going to go into Lake County updates as well as some news and what the real estate market has been like. So, if you just want to skip to the real estate part of things, I'm going to put the timestamps down below so that way you can go to the part that you're interested in. If you like videos like this, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel for future videos. So first off, we've had so many cool events happen over the last few months, and lots of support is really coming in to Lake County. For instance, there's the Pumpkin Chunkin Festival that was put on by the Wildhurst Pumpkin Patch and Corn Maze, and they really went all out. They put on a bunch of fun activities, and there were vendors, there was the Pumpkin Chunkin, they had the corn maze, and all the proceeds that they had from this day actually went to the Lake County Farm Bureau's scholarship program. In fact, this event was so successful that they raised $4,475 for the scholarship fund. In fact, this was so successful that they do plan on continuing it, but they're going to be expanding it drastically, adding much more competitions into this event. The Lake County Farm Bureau represents almost 500 farmers and ag-based companies here in Lake County, and they're working to protect and promote our agriculture. Now, I've spoke about Lake County agriculture in the past and how agriculture really is like the baseline for everything that revolves around Lake County. And so agriculture and things along this line, it's really like the heart and soul of our community. So yeah, this is an amazing program that's going to be continuing, well, an amazing event that's going to be continuing on, and I think it's really going to be amazing for our local youth. The event that's coming up is Country Air is putting on our annual Cantry event. And what the Cantry is we deliver bins to a lot of the local government offices, and we run a competition to see who can collect the most cans. During this, a lot of our staff and our agents, we also donate cans as well, which goes to the St. Mary's Church food cupboard. We love putting on this event because it helps a lot of the locals that are struggling to put food on the table. Not only that, but we also get to interact with a lot of the people in our community, and it really brings a lot of holiday cheer and fun and competition and everything. It helps uplift everyone's spirit, and that's one of the reasons why I really, really love this event, and I love that I get to be a part of it. There's a local bank that's actually doing something very similar to our Cantry, but instead of doing it with the local government offices and the agents, they're going to be doing it with local financial institutions and other credit unions. And the bank behind this is Community First Credit Union. Now, Community First Credit Union, and I swear this is not an ad, but I've actually been banking with them for as long as I've had a bank account. They are amazing people. They have an amazing team behind them. The staff in there, they're really great people, and they're actually partnering with the Redwood Empire Food Bank to deliver food to the needy. Theirs is also a competition to see who can raise the most funds, collect the most food, and volunteer the most hours at the Redwood Empire Food Bank. And actually, back on October 10th, the entire Community First team, they were spending their time in the morning volunteering with the Redwood Empire Food Bank. So that's really amazing that they're doing this for a community. It's really amazing that this credit union's doing this for the community, and they also offer a lot of loans and programs for our locals, including a ag credit program, which I don't remember too much details on that, but I'll see if I can provide a link below. But I know it's to help with the FFA kids as well as the 4-H kids in order for them to afford purchasing their animals as well as buying the food and stuff for those animals, so that way more kids have access to being able to participate in raising animals in FFA and 4-H. So one more thing about Community First, I swear this is it, but they not only are, a local credit union and they help with the community and everything, but they're also a not-for-profit financial institution. They actually reinvest their profits to their members through high deposit rates and low loan rates, as well as supporting local community events and organizations, obviously. But, I mean, besides all that, they really get actively involved with it, and I think that's amazing. You guys are doing a good job. Another really cool program that launched is the Proud to Be in the Trades program that is done by the Lady Luck Garage and they have partnered with the Lake Family Resource Center. Now, I've talked about Lake Family Resource Center before, and what their main mission is to help develop the community, help out our local families and the youth, and things along that line. Now, what Proud to Be in the Trades is for, which, I mean, you can kind of guess off of the name, is what they're doing is they're trying to support and educate students learning in a trade to help create a strong foundation for their futures in their community. Working to raise funds and gather donated supplies to benefit the students of today and the tradespeople of tomorrow. And what their first project is to help out with the Kelseyville Ag Mechanics program. The Kelseyville Ag Mechanics program helps students get their foot in the door to becoming an agricultural mechanic. So yeah, I think that this is amazing that they're helping out with this. And they do plan on doing a lot more with this program and doing fundraisers and a bunch of other things in order to help our local youth who want to get into trades. Now, something I found really interesting I came across is the Redwood Coast region was awarded a $5 million economic developing planning grant. And yes, Lake County is part of this. What this grant is for is to support a planning process developing sustainable industries that will create high quality, accessible jobs for everyone. So I'm not really sure how exactly they're going to be putting this grant into place yet, but I do find it really exciting that this is something that's going to be going on soon, and I'm really excited to see the new programs that come about from this grant. There's another grant that I'm really excited about. The California Department of Fire Protection awarded $14 million in new grant agreements. This project is going to increase California's capacity to establish friendly, resilient forests through workforce and business development. This means is we're going to get funding to help establish better systems to help prevent wildfires. Which the Lake County annual burn ban for 2022, it lifted as of November 30th, which means that the overall wildfire risk has significantly reduced, and burn permits still are required. So if you need to burn your burn piles and everything, don't forget to see your local fire department and request your burn permit. I also want to tell you guys about this amazing victory that one of our local high schools had. So with less than a minute to go, the Clear Lake Cardinals, they scored a touchdown just in time to beat the heavily favored and unbeaten St. Vincent de Paul High School. That is amazing. A small local high school in a rural area beat a unbeaten team that was in a much bigger area than we are. So congratulations, you guys. I know you probably trained super hard for it, and that's going to be an amazing story to tell your future generations. I am so proud of you guys. On to the Lake County local real estate update, and this is definitely interesting. So back in November, our average sales price was about $324,623, where in October it was $331,409. The peak of what the average was this year was back in January at the height, and that was $393,609. So yeah, almost $70,000 less than what the beginning of the year is. That's a huge hit to the sellers, but it could be a great opportunity for buyers. Now, the total closed sales went down significantly as well. Back in November, there was about 65 closed sales, where in October there was 82. That's a pretty significant difference. Average days on market in November were 47, where in October the average was about 38. The lowest that we saw was in July at 19. So the average days on market, they're growing. They're still not horrible numbers, but in comparison to what we've seen over the last few years, they've definitely gone up quite a bit. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. So pending sales overall have dropped significantly. In November, only 17 went pending, where in October, it was 60. And the month before that, it was 81. That is crazy. What that means is there aren't a lot of active buyers at the moment. So if somebody's interested in purchasing a property, now really is your time to try to purchase a property, because the interest rates also have gone down a little bit compared to what they have been months prior. And there's definitely a lot less buyers out there at the moment, and more homes are being put on the market. So it's definitely seemed to have shifted more towards a buyer's market. And with knowing this, though, it doesn't mean that it's necessarily a bad time to sell either, because over the last few years, we have seen the prices of local Lake County homes just skyrocket. It's nothing that we've really ever seen before. And so a lot of people that have owned their homes for a while, they're actually still sitting on a pretty decent amount of equity. So if they're interested in selling, it's still a decent time to sell. It's just you're not going to sell as quickly as you did over the last couple years, and you're not going to get as much money, but it's still not necessarily a bad time to sell either. The one thing to keep in mind is that now, since there aren't as many active buyers and there is more competition, that means you're not going to have as much room to negotiate against the buyers, because if you let a buyer go, it's not very likely that you could get another offer in as easily as you would as the last couple of years. Because of the sellers having more equity in the home, this also allows the buyers to have more purchasing power. And you're probably thinking, well, Cheyenne, that doesn't make sense. How does the seller having more equity in the home give the buyer more purchasing power? Well, one, it leaves more room for negotiation. You can negotiate a little bit of a lower price if you're a buyer. And not only that, if there are repairs that are needed, a seller is more likely to be able to get a home equity line of credit in order to get those repairs done if, say, you need it for like an FHA, USDA, or VA loan. Or if you do happen to have a conventional but just want those repairs done. Back in 2008, when we had that really major crash and everybody lost down their equity, the sellers were really strapped and they couldn't really do anything. The prices that they gave were the prices that they really couldn't do much with, and a lot of times they had a short sale. They didn't end up with walking away with anything, and a lot of times the buyers that were interested, they weren't able to get the repairs done in order to get the loan that they needed. So now, with the way that things are, it's actually more of a win-win situation, because the sellers, they're getting to walk away with more money, and the buyers are getting a home that they want with the repairs that they need. So yeah, it is actually currently more of a win-win situation. Even though it is kind of leaning more towards a buyer's market, right now is the opportunity to have more of a win-win situation. Now, we don't know what's going to happen coming up in the next few months, because there are a lot of outside factors going on that do directly affect the market. And if you want to get into that a little bit more with me, I would be more than happy to have a conversation with you. Honestly, I can make an entire video just going on a tangent about that. Even though it is a win-win situation for buyers and sellers, well, why is it that buyers aren't really wanting to buy right now? Well, that's because the interest rates are hovering between 6 and 7%, which is literally double the amount that we saw at the beginning, which was about 3.22%. And I mean the beginning of this year. I know many in the industry are going to say, well, interest rates are still pretty low historically. And you know what? Yeah, that's true. But they're also the highest that they've been in over 20 years. So that's something that you really got to factor into that. And not only that, but home prices, they're at an all-time high. And yes, home prices go up with inflation and everything, but something that I can say is the inflation hasn't really kept up with the average income. For instance, in 1970, the average income was about $9,870 per year. And I know that number seems crazy to us now, but yeah, that's what it was back in 1970. And see, home prices, they were at about $24,640. But the funny thing is, around this time, interest rates were actually about the same as what we have at the moment, 7.31%. Factoring all this together means that the average mortgage payment back then was $169. So your mortgage payment during this time was only 20% of your income. Now, in 2022, the average income is about $54,132, where the average home price is about $348,079, where our average mortgage rate right now is about 6.67. Point though, during the month, it was at 7.32, which is really close to what the interest rate was during these statistics. The average home price nationwide being $348,079, and the average interest rate at one point this month being 7.32, the average mortgage payment was about $2,391, which is 3% of the average income. Whereas when interest rates were at 3%, less than a year ago, your average payment would be about $1,468, which is only 32% of the average income. Both of these numbers don't include taxes and fees. When you put it into that perspective, home prices alone have increased by 1,312% since early 1970. Goods in general, they've increased by 668%, where the average income, it's only increased by 448%. So that kind of puts things into perspective a little bit more. So yeah, interest rates, they aren't the highest they've ever been, but interest rates have greatly affected the buying power of many. And now there are buy down programs that you can do that do help offset this. What many are experiencing is that they have to put their dream of buying a home on hold. And for this generation, the interest rates are at the highest that they've ever been for them. A lot of them, it's not even so much that they're just sitting around waiting for a better rate to come along. It's that they might not even have the decision to be able to take the higher rate because they can't afford it. This is something that I really work on with my clients to see what the best option is for them, because for some people, yeah, buying is the best option for you, but some it's like you are just in a space where you end up having to rent, and it's sad to see that. With the interest rate being so high, it's better than 100% interest with renting if you plan on staying somewhere long term. I read a lot of articles, and a lot of experts are saying that they believe home prices will increase about another 6% next year. Still going up, but not as quickly as we've seen in years past. I personally am not entirely sure about this. A lot of home prices in general are going down. We're seeing more inventory come up. We're seeing more foreclosures come up. And a lot of the COVID restrictions have lifted. When a lot of buyers purchased, a lot of the businesses offered more remote work. Businesses now where they're having their remote workers come back to the office or do a hybrid situation. Now, what else is going on with this? Gas prices are also extremely high. They've gone down in comparison to what they were over the summer. I mean, oh man, my pocket was hurting when it came to, driving around for real estate and everything. It is crazy how much it went up. And because of how high the gas prices were, a lot of people couldn't even afford to go back to the businesses that they commuted to, because they went from, owning a place or renting a place nearby the business that they work for to maybe having a 2, 3, maybe even 4-hour commute. So some people could have possibly lost their jobs or had to sell immediately in order to go back. And then there's also some people where they tried to sell, but then they have this home that's stuck and maybe they're dealing with a renter situation or something. So there are a lot of factors going to place, especially for rural communities like this. We had a huge influx of remote workers come here because they were able to buy a lot more house for a lot less than a lot of other areas that they were looking at. And also we had a lot of really interesting features to Lake County. I know a lot of people, they are really interested in the lake. They're really interested in all the recreational activities that we have over here. And, our small town charm, because I gotta say, our area is pretty charming. Not only is there the remote work factor, but another thing is there was a lot of people that moved away from places that they've always known, and they had no idea what they were really moving into. Say somebody is originally from the city and they've never really spent time in country life. It's a huge change. I'm not saying that either one is bad, but it is a change. You grow up one way, you're used to one thing, and I'm sorry, but country life really isn't always for everybody. It's a great place to be. And personally, I could not live in the city. I would not do well in the city. And there's a lot of people that they don't do well in the country. And that's something that a lot of people had a harsh reality check about and realized that they really don't like it here. Or in maybe another rural area or town or a different city than what they're used to. You also get a feeling of homesickness sometimes, depending on what your ties are and everything, and find yourself wanting to go back. So yeah, there are a lot of factors going into play when it comes to the housing market. And, I'm not just a person about numbers, but I'm also a person about what's going on behind those numbers to help educate you better about what's going on overall in the market. Another thing I wanted to bring up too that could be affecting the market is the fact that grocery prices have been increasing so much. And there is a reason to that. I really recommend looking into what's going on in the food industry because the agriculture industry has been absolutely devastated. And that's why we're seeing so many grocery prices go up. It's not only because of inflation, but we've actually lost a lot of manufacturing facilities and a lot of farmers because ag is really what drives us as a world. Because if we don't have food, you don't have people. So yeah, definitely look into that because I see that being another factor into something that could possibly affect our market. With the food inflation prices going so high, a lot of people are having a hard time even thinking about purchasing a home because they're having a hard time purchasing food. On top of that, stocks, they've dropped significantly, and so is crypto, which is another indicator of a market shift happening. Now, I mean, I could be completely wrong about what's going on, and I do believe that we're entering a market shift, looking at everything as a whole that's going on. And that's my honest opinion. When it comes to real estate and things in general, I want to tell you the honest truth of what I hear and what I see and what I believe, whether that's good or bad. And I think things could be kind of tough coming up. Does it mean it's a good time to buy or sell? Well, really, it depends on your situation. Always good deals everywhere in any kind of market, so don't let fear necessarily hold you back. Estate, investments, life in general, it's a gamble. You take the information that you're given and you make your best educated guess on what's right for you. And what's right for you may not be right for the other person that's in a totally different situation than you are, but looking at the same thing that you want to do. Looking at the history of different businesses and industries and everything, there have been things that seem like solid investments in the past and they end up going bankrupt. Look at like Kmart and Sears and such. And then there's things that people laughed at and skyrocketed and became amazing investments, since like Dogecoin and cryptocurrency. Most millionaires and billionaires, you'll find out that they made most of their money during the depressions and recessions. They ended up taking risks when no one else did, and it ended up paying off. Yeah, it totally depends on your situation and what you're interested in. If you would like to have more of a conversation about this, feel free to reach out to me anytime. I'm more than happy to talk about this with you more in depth and get a better feel for what the right choice is for you. Because the ultimate goal for me is for you to be where you need to be and where you're happy. My end goal with every client is to have them in the end happy and where they need or want to be. Hope you all enjoyed this video, and if you did, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel. And if you're new here and you made it to the end, I also want to let you know I not only do videos like this, but I also do interesting videos on the history of our area, fun facts about the area, and even the dark history of our area. And the reason why I do that is because when people move here, I want you to know everything about this area. The good, the bad, and the ugly. There is a lot of good when it comes to this area. But a lot of agents, they sell you on only the good stuff and don't tell you really any of the history. And the history, that's really what makes you fall in love with this place. It is an amazing area, and there's just so many unique features here that you're not going to find everywhere else. Give me a call or a text or shoot me an email. Get all of my information at the end screen, and I also always put it in the box below. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and until next time, have a good one.